Hi there and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about a crypto scam which I encountered last night when I was interacting with my Trust wallet. It's called the address poisoning scam, and I want to say something about what happened in this instance and how people can avoid negative consequences associated with this kind of scam. Now, I am not the kind of person who interacts with my Trust wallet all that often. I maybe perform 1 or 2 transactions per year from that wallet. However, it does have a reasonably large balance in stable coins there, I have to admit that. So it might have been targeted for that reason, I really don't know, or it might just have been a completely random attack. What happened was that I decided to move around 20,000 USDC from the wallet to an exchange, and I went there and I did my test transaction as you always would. I've actually moved to that exchange address several times, but I'm just a very paranoid person and I always like to do a test transaction. It's on the Ethereum ERC20 blockchain, and fees at the moment are very, very low. It was only costing me something in the order of 40 cents or something to send a transaction, so I figured let's just do a test one anyway. So I sent $10. And yeah, the $10, I got a notification from the exchange that the transaction was processing, etc., etc. And then I got a notification from Trust Wallet app on my phone saying $10 was credited to my account. I was thinking, what? It should have gone out rather than come back. I thought that's really strange. And when I was going to open that notification, another 2 suddenly came in, each for $1. And then I realized that something was going on, because when I looked closely at the addresses that these people had used to send me the $10 and then the dollar and the dollar, it was very, very similar to the recipient address that I had just sent to, the exchange address, but some characters were different. But the first few characters and the last few characters of the address were the same, and it would be very, very easy for a person to make a mistake and just click on that transaction, copy it as part of your transaction history, and then use that to make a transaction in the future. And that's the intent of the scammers here. I subsequently sent $50 just to see what would happen. It was not my intended transaction, but I sent it, and I received 50 cents from another scammer's address trying to do the same thing, obviously. Finally, I performed my real transaction. Nothing happened, but when I woke up the following morning, I found that there was another notification from Trust Wallet saying that somebody had credited like a cent or something in USDC to my account. Now, what are these people actually trying to achieve by doing this? Well, I think they're all trying to do the same thing, which is force people to make a mistake. And the mistake that you can make is that if you're doing a lot of transactions, for example, I'm quite lucky because I don't, and I noticed it instantly. But if you're doing a lot of transactions, it's easy to become lazy and just look at a transaction which is outgoing, which looks kind of similar to one of your wallet addresses, and copy the address and paste it and then send funds to it. And this is what the attackers in this instance are hoping that people will do. They're basically preying on people's laziness and negligence in not thoroughly checking the full address, because who wants to do that, right? So in order to avoid this scam, what you should do is you should carefully take a look at incoming transactions into your account, and you should never ever use them as a source for the address for outgoing transactions. You should always take the full address from the source, whether it's an exchange or it's a wallet or something, whether it's a QR code, which would be better, or whether you're copying and pasting it from the source. This is better, it's best practice, and if you do that, you will totally avoid this kind of scam. Now, in my case, I made money out of this, a total of $12.53, which handily paid for the 3 transactions that I did, which probably cost me like $1.50. So I'm very, very grateful to the scammers. I think that this may just be a randomized attack, but it's possible that they are targeting dormant wallets which have just woken up, because mine isn't used very often. And it's also possible that they're looking for higher value wallets. Because the scammers are actually spending money on these transactions. Who's paying for this $12.53? The scammers, different scammers. They sent me money. And that USDC that I received, I can use it. It's mine. It's not harmful to use it or prejudicial in any way. I can interact with it. The only thing you have to be careful about is not copying addresses from transactions which have come into your account, because that's the path to devastation. Another dimension of this scam involves sending NFTs to wallets in the hope that the person who receives them will interact with the NFT and open up a link which contains malicious software on OpenSea or some other platform. Obviously, that's not a good idea. So if you get any NFTs out of the blue, please just ignore them. But if it's just scammers sending you money like this, all you have to be careful of with this address poisoning scam is simply not copying the address from any incoming transactions. You're free to take their money if they want to send it to you and to use it as you please without any negative effects at all. The first scammer actually sent me $10, which is exactly the same amount as I sent for my test transaction. And that leads me to believe that maybe he was hunting for test transactions. Usually I would always send $10 or $20 as a test transaction as a precursor to sending a much larger amount. So I figure this scammer thought, well, if I send back $10 exactly from a very, very similar address, because that's what he did, then maybe he will think that maybe the victim, that would be me, would think that the transaction had failed, or at the very least it will move it to the top of the transaction list, and therefore there's a high chance that this guy is just going to copy and paste from the transaction history, and I might be a winner and get something like $10,000. Now, unfortunately for him, I'm extremely paranoid and check every single character of every address every time, and I encourage other people to do the same. But it very easily could have worked in the case of someone who was in a hurry or someone who is just not paying attention. So this address poisoning scam, it used to be a feature of blockchains which had very, very cheap transaction fees like Tron or Solana or something like that, maybe Binance Smart Chain, where you can literally send transactions for pennies or fractions of a penny, and it's really worthwhile. Recently, because transaction fees on Ethereum and ERC20 have declined so much, it's actually become viable for scammers to attempt it. And I actually received this USDC over ERC20, so it definitely shows it has spread very much to the Ethereum network. Anyway, in this case, no harm done. Actually, it was a net gain. I just urge everybody to be vigilant and look out for this address poisoning scam. It doesn't affect the security of your wallet. It doesn't affect your ability to use your address, not at all. You simply have to be careful. You have to remain vigilant. So with that said, thank you for watching the video. I hope you found the information helpful, and I will see you again in the next one.